5, 4, 3, 2, and we are live here once again at In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I am the internet icon, the pride of the Pilgrims, handsome Jackie Jones. Oh, man. Along with my right-hand man, no, he's not here this week. He's meeting a guy down under the bridge. He met him on Craigslist. He's going to pick up a package, if you get what I'm saying. But we wish him all the luck here, getting his stocking stuff, getting, his buddy's going to be coming down his chimney, if you catch my drift. But hey, whatever you're into, Inchman, enjoy your holidays. But going to be here talking about the wrestling. So I'm going to go over some stuff in the wrestling world. And then also over on the Facebook group, I asked to find folks at Headyverse, send in questions, and AMA, the kids call it. Ask me anything, but it's AJA. Ask Jack anything. I'd like it preferably no bullshit. You assholes out there like to send in the total bullshit. But no bullshit this evening. Like sending me real questions about In Your Head, about the history of In Your Head, and I will answer them. Post them in the chat all evening. I'll answer them. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time, folks. All right, but this weekend, I watch a lot of wrestling. Intra's off, meeting people on Craigslist and, doing some dirty deeds. But I watch the wrestling. And I watched the Ring of Honor Final Battle because it's the end of an era. It's possibly the end of Ring of Honor. It felt like the end of the promotion watching it. I'm glad I got it. It was $25. Good deal, I think, for live wrestling show. 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe with the pre-show. And I felt special. It really felt like you're watching Last Thing. It was interesting. I haven't kept up with Ring of Honor for a while. So, I didn't know the storylines and stuff, but the match itself was a lot of fun. The show itself. I'm trying to get the card up here, but here we go. So let's see here. I did miss, apparently there was some stuff I missed. I thought I saw the whole show. Some of the stuff must have been a pre-show. I missed the pre-show. On the pre-show, The Righteous defeated Shane Taylor's promotion. I don't know any of these people in this, but I'm sure it was a good match. I missed it. I would have watched it. I just thought about it last minute, ordered it. Miranda Alize and the Allure defeated Chelsea Green and the Hex. And PJ Black, Flip Gordon, Brian Malonis, the Beer City Bruiser, and world famous CB defeated LSG, Sledge, Maxi Impaler, Demonic Flamita, and Will Ferrara. So I did not see any of those. 10-man match, 10-man tag match. But I did see Dragon Lee versus Ray Horace. Very fun match. Rhett Titus versus Dalton Castle, Silas Young, and Joe Hendry. This is my first time ever seen Joe Hendry. This guy's awesome. A lot of charisma. Amazing theme song. I was really big on the man's theme. I've always been a fan of Silas Young, the last real wrestler, real man, I should say. George South of the last wrestler. Silas Young, the last man. Dalton Castle, great act, very charismatic. I think he's in Impact now. I could be wrong about that. He was defending his television championship in this. And I've been a long time fan of Red Titus. And we used to know him at the Fan Fest, and I was happy to see him win the belt. Now, I know him as he's Red Titus. He's addicted to love. He's Red Titus. But now he's part of a group, the Foundation. He wears like a rotting corpse mask. Kind of cool. Amazing shape still. Fun match. And it was nice to see, a long-time Ring of Honor star who I don't think he's ever had a singles title, won a title on the last show. Now, what happens to this belt, I'm not sure. This was the only one, I think, the only title that was changed that they did, and then afterwards, kind of talk about maybe it appearing in other things. I got the impression that a lot of the Ring of Honor titles will be touring belts now without the promotion. which is an interesting concept that maybe like the Ring of Honor World title, Ring of Honor Women's title, Ring of Honor tag belts could be belts that are defended, internationally, New Japan, AEW, Mexico, NWA possibly. So I don't know. I like this. In theory, it's a good idea. How you work that out with everybody, I know people are starting to work more together, which is great. But once you start having titles, could be a little different. Who knows? I don't know. We'll find out. Josh Woods defeated Brian Johnson. This was a fight with honor. This was for the this was the pure championship for the next match was a fight without honor, but a pure rules match. Going in, I thought like, oh, this is probably not gonna be something I like, but I thought it was very good, and they actually used the added rules like two breaks with the ropes, things like that. They really used that in the psychology of the match and the storytelling, because then it happened. The man used up all his rope breaks, and then so at the end when he had him in the submission, it didn't matter if he's in the ropes. This was actually very good, and it was interesting to show that actually cutting back on everything you do in the match can actually add to the match. Shane Taylor defeated Kenny King. This was the fight without honor. Wild, like hardcore brawl. My first time seeing Shane Taylor. Very impressive big man. Roxy defeated Willow Nightingale for the women's. She defended the women's belt. This was the only match I didn't think was very good. I don't know. I kind of think WWE really has most of the really good women's wrestlers. I know some people are going to get mad at me out there. There's a handful in AEW, but a lot of the ones I see in the other one in promotions just aren't really very good. So then after this match, I didn't know who she was, but women, I think she's a champ in AAA, came in and challenged Roxy to winner takes all. So I guess it'll be the women's title will be defended in AAA. What I alluded to earlier in the program. Go Pumpher hit the History of In Your Head show. Well, thank you. He also sent in audio clips. Interesting. I don't know if I'll be able to play them. I wish I would have looked at earlier. I'm not sure I'll be able to play them on the show tonight. We'll try. Dobbs says hello, Mr. Dobbs, my buddy, my pal, my amigo, my compadre. Jonathan Jackson said interest getting those stocking stuff deep. You know it. Getting that stocking, he's getting it all stretched out so he can, get a lot of goody stuff in there. Get in there. By the way, this is not Jonathan Jackson's hat. I have my own hat. Jonathan Jackson hat is still here. He never sent me the address yet to send this out. But to let everybody know, boom, I have two extras. That's right. One of them is already Jonathan Jackson's, but I've got one more Bootio's hat. If anyone tonight would like that hat, you can super chat $25 and I'll send it out. Which, by the way, is a good deal because I didn't realize YouTube tastes like $8 out of that. I take a big chunk. Golgo ordered Final Battle and he enjoyed it. Said Inch's probably licking some candy canes right about now. He's probably licking the canes while Santa's coming down his chimney. He's living the life in Santalville. Gogo 13 Joe Henry was great in Impact. See, I didn't know him in Impact. He teamed with Grado. Oh, okay, I like Grado. Gogo 13, I hope AEW picks up Dalton Castle. I agree. He thinks Pure Rules is boring. I didn't. I actually really liked it quite a bit. I hope Willow got Jeff Hardy's. Oh, that's true. I don't know. We'll talk about Jeff Hardy in a little bit. VLNC Unlimited, Brody King, Homicide. Oh, this is Violence Unlimited. Brody King, Homicide, and Cody Deppen, and Rocky Romero defeated EC3, Eli Esom, Taylor Rust, and Tracer Williams, 8-man Tag matches was a fun match. Afterwards, it was like this big angle where EC3, I don't know if I don't know what was happening here. He's like, it was almost like an invasion, but he outright said it's not an invasion. So I don't know if it's his own promotion or if this is a faction that will be in multiple promotions. He said, unleash the Titan, kind of like unleash the Kraken, but with Titan, which was Braun Strowman, looked amazing shape. Trimmed the beard up, shaved the head, it was good look. On the indies, a man is a legit giant, because there aren't really anyone else his size. EC3 looks great, but there's just something. I've never really been into the guy. And again, here, like he's given the mic and he's trying to get this over, and it seems like it should be a big deal. And he looks the part, but it just didn't work for me. There's something missing in him. Like, for one thing, the promo, like he just went on and on for a long time and never really got his point across of what he was talking about. And it wasn't clear what was happening. And I don't know. It's just, I think as Beef said in the group, he just might just not have the it factor. There's something missing there. I don't know. You think he should be like a star guy? I'm not seeing it. Briscoe Brothers versus the OGT, which is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. And they had Maria Kanellis in the corner with them. For the tag belts, they said that they actually flipped the coin in the back to see which would go last, the tag titles or the world title. And the world title went last. Great match. Briscoe Brothers won the belts. That's a great ending for Ring of Honor. Been there forever. And one of the acts has been there for so long and never left, unlike, a lot of the people. And then this was a great angle afterwards. FTR comes in and, I'm guessing we're going to get FTR versus Briscoe Brothers on AEW for the ROH titles, which that'd be a great, definite dream match. Looking forward to that. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention a lot of Ring of Honor legends throughout the show did pre-tape promos, which was really nice. You had Young Bucks and a lot of Hangman and Page and Eddie Edwards and CM Punk. I mentioned Brian Danielson. I'm missing a lot of people, but it was very nice to see. It was very good. A lot of them talked kind of like this was the end, and really put it over. And if you think about it, these last 20 years, 15 years or so many of the top guys in all the promotions are from Ring of Honor, and it really did. Really, the style we see is really Ring of Honor style. Well, it would have been nice for WWE to let like Steen and Cesaro, maybe Rollins, if he'd be into it, send in a tape like this, but they wouldn't do that. And people will defend that, I'm sure, but it wouldn't have hurt anything. Jonathan Gresham defeated Jay Lethal by submission. I never understand Jonathan Gresham's octopus character. I don't get it. He comes out looking like he's like from Call of Cthulhu, or he's like this Lovecraftian beast. But he's like just a straight up wrestler. I don't think the gimmick fits him at all. I don't know if it would really fit anybody. If it seems like a dark, weird gimmick that would be like in the Dungeon of Doom, but once he just takes it off and then he's just a wrestler. I don't understand it. Jay Lethal, I've always been a fan of. I was actually rooting for him to win. I don't know a lot about Gresham. Very good wrestler, but the gimmick does not work. And they said he'd be taking the ROH title to New Japan. But I really enjoyed the show. I'm glad I got it. Glad I watched it. I mentioned I was at top of Jeff Hardy. So Jeff Hardy, go 13! Boom! He got the last one. There won't be a surprise one next week. So both these are accounted for. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Gogo 13 got themselves the Booty-O's hat, and they will be styling just like me. We are the modern day New Day. Oh, yeah, New Day. Me, Gogo 13, Jonathan Jackson are the New Day of the Headyverse. Boom. I think that's fitting. I love it. So Jeff Hardy was like running out of the ring last week during matches, and I guess WWE wanted to send him to rehab. He didn't want to do it, and so they let him go. I mean, I don't know what else they're supposed to do. I've seen people on our board say, like, rehab isn't for everybody, and not every relapse means you should have to go to rehab. Now, I understand what they're saying, but the man's clearly had issues for a long time. I mean, WWE you can't have a guy just running out of a match because it's not only him, it's the protection of the other wrestlers, protection of the crowd. So I don't know what else you could really do at this point. And I don't get any pleasure out of a guy having battling demons. I don't think his brother's doing him any good, just saying he's fine, and his wife, and taking pictures saying, oh, we're going to reunite, basically insinuating they're going to reunite in AEW. If the guy's got issues, don't think just immediately like, wow, he's got to come in AEW and start wrestling again. The greatest thing. But I don't know. I don't know the man's financial situation. I don't know how he's really doing. He looks in pain to me whenever he wrestles, as does Matt. I can't deny Matt and Jeff together in AEW wouldn't be cool. It'd be a lot better than what Matt's doing now, which is just shitting up the joint. Hardy Boys, Hardy Boys, Young Bucks, Hardy Boys, FTR, Hardy Boys, Darby Allin and Sting. There's lots of things you could do. It'd be fun. I just, the man's health is more important than some dream matches. But we'll see what happens. Another big thing this week was Hannibal. He stabbed this referee in the head with a spike. He's like, fucking attacking him. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be in the minority here. I'm not one to like defend Hannibal and something, but when I watched it, I was like, oh, well, this was clearly, an angle. The referee was hiding the blade. You could see that he bladed himself and was putting the blade back in his shirt. He was just putting his arms aside, getting attacked. If you're really getting attacked, you'd put your hands up or something. So did Hannibal go too far with it? I have no idea, possibly. But it was clearly set up. It was clearly like a planned thing. You could see they were working together. People have some different views on this. Basically, everyone says it was a planned spot going in. That ref was actually one group says it was Hannibal's ref. Other people say, I think Hannibal says that he was picked out because he's a good bleeder. And they gave him the spike to use. And so anyway, so the various things are, what it seems to me is there's a playing spot and it went a little too far. He's a little too rough with the guy. So people said he actually really did choke him out, which that's possible. The stuff with the spike, to me, it looked like they were, doing it together. Again, he might have went too far and actually cut his head with it and stuff. But it's kind of weird. He started to go, I won't, go too far with this. I do think what Hannibal said is accurate, that it was, all set up, and he even apologized. So maybe he knows he went too far with it and hurt the guy. That's unfortunate. But it is wrestling. I've seen some wrestling friends of mine on Facebook saying they're pretty sure it was a Kevin Sullivan idea, because I know Sullivan works with the promotion and with Hannibal, and it's something right out of Sullivan. I mean, Sullivan's done the Golden Spike many times in wrestling. He's done similar angles all throughout wrestling. He did in Smoky Mountain with Jim Cornette when he cut up in Katamura, I think. Katamura, something like that. He even had the Golden Spike with like Ming and stuff in WCW. So anyway, it's unfortunate if he did hurt the man, but there's no way he just went in there with this without telling anyone and just started actually spiking the guy in the head. I mean, that didn't happen. So we'll see what happens. He's losing bookings. Now, if he did either way, even if he didn't go in there and just start spiking the dude, but if he did actually choke him out, or cut the guy too deep or whatever like that. I understand people not wanting to book him. I don't really understand what the purpose of the angle was to begin with. Like, are you going to lead to Hannibal versus referee match? Like, what was it? The point was it just to get like hits and like people talking, possibly, which it did, but not in a positive way. I don't think. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Gogo 13, I think E3 was at his best playing Dixie's nephew. Everyone says that. I've not wasn't watching Impact at the time, so I don't really can't have an opinion on that. I have not liked his new change of narrative. Yeah, I don't like the change your narrative thing, control your narrative. I don't know. He says maybe it'll be better with him leading a faction. It's I don't know. I don't think he's good as the leader of the faction. His promos are just ramble. They seem like they should be better. He's given a big platform and a lot of time on this show, but wasn't loving it. AEW Dynamite. Excuse me. What was the date on that? What was last week? Like the 7th? Does that sound right? I could just look. No. Today's the 14th. So, all right. The 8th. All right. Let me look this up. I should take notes, which I used to. Maybe I will if I start doing the post shows again. Oh yeah. So we had MJF. Oh yeah. So this was great because this was in Long Island. You heard MJF's music start. I just have the notes up here, the just so I know what's happening, but I'm not sitting reading it. But so MJF's music came on and CM Punk came out. And this was tremendous. This Punk MJF feuds to me just money. It's amazing. Some of the best promos of modern wrestling, best promos I can remember in ages. This was cool because Punk's just over like Rover, as all the kids say. But in Long Island, he was the heel, and he played it up. He played up being the heel. Some people could take note instead of fighting the crowd, just play with it. And, next week he'll be cheered. But this is, if he would have been out there and kept pandering to the audience like Cody would do or something, and trying to get them to love him, this would have been embarrassing. But no, he knew going in. And then he even went ultra heel on them. I like this dynamic. To me, when they would talk about heels and baby faces being passe, this is more to me what they meant, as opposed to there are no heels and baby faces, because there's clearly villains and heroes on the show. There's clearly protagonists and antagonists. But when you have a dynamic like this, that's more blurred and out the window. And so you have MJF playing up as being the hometown boy. And MJF's intro, his for the Battle Royal, that was one of the best things. It put him over. It was so it was over the top. It was corny. It was corny and funny, but not to the point where it's like, what am I watching? Both that stuff was great. The Battle Royal is what it is. I'm not really a big fan of Battle Royals in general. It was weird to see certain guys in here get thrown out very quickly. Like Jay Lethal just came to the show and had that great match with Sammy Guevara. And this is something AEW is not good at, is keeping up momentum on guys. So he has some momentum, even though he lost, he's got, some momentum after that's our first sighting of him. And then immediately he's just a guy in a battle royal and thrown out like in the middle and not even thought of. It's very bizarre. Dante Martin comes down with MJF, and Dante immediately now is already turned on Team Taz. Like, if I actually would prefer him with Leo Rush, but that team is actually really working for me. That's really a dark horse team that I didn't really think I'd see much in, but I've been liking it. So then when he goes with Team Taz, it's like, okay, maybe the storyline is eventually he's playing Team Taz or Leo Rush wins him back, whatever. But you can't just do it the very next week. You can't be the big swerve. Dante Martin signs with Team Taz, and then the very next week he turns on him. No, you can't do that. I mean, you don't even give people time to care. But yeah, I mean, I assume MJF will win it 3 years in a row. This battle royal is always weird to me too, because the one thing about a battle royal is when it comes down to a few people, it's usually exciting, and then you have the payoff of the winner, but you don't even have a payoff of a winner in this one because it comes down to 2 people and it just ends and they have a match next week. Now, if it ended and they had a match immediately, I think that would work. But to end the battle royal without a winner and then you got to wait the next week to see it at home, it's lame, but it must be really lame if you're there in the audience, because it's like you're paying to be there, you fly to be there, travel to be there, and then you don't even see the actual payoff of what you're watching. It's very weird. The Claim in 2.0, they wrestled the Jurassic Express and the Varsity Blondes. I actually like all these guys. It was a big, just a big fun, big bunch of moves. Usually these 8-man tags are like that. So either you kind of like that kind of thing, you don't. I like it. It's not like, it's not going to be the greatest thing that's ever lived, but you have a 2-hour show. You put in a thing like that. It's fun. FTR backstage with Tully Blanchard. This was not good. It might have been FTR's worst promo. I thought they were really poor on the mic. Young Bucks with Adam Cole, baby, and Brandon Cutler versus Chaos, Rocky Romero, and the Kentucky Gentleman, Chuck Taylor. Glad to see Chuck Taylor back. I'm a big fan of giving people. Gotta give the people what they want. I like the hugging out with the best friends. Ruby Soho interview with Alex Marvez. I don't remember this, but it says she was interrupted by the Bunny and Penelope Ford. I'm not a one to say cornets like right on stuff, but they do every time there's a vignette, anytime there's an interview, it's just automatically people are attacked. It's too far. Sammy Guevara, he was interviewed. Oh yeah, and Cody came out. I don't really remember any of this stuff. Jamie Hayter versus Riho. I'm not a Riho hater, but this match wasn't good. I'm a Jamie Hayter fan. This big size difference. Instead of growing on me, I think she's growing against me, Riho. Either she's gotten worse, or I've grown tired of her act. The giant versus the smaller guy, David Goliath thing, that's a good story to tell once in a while, but that's all her matches, and she's super tiny. I don't know. Getting a little bit, I've had enough for Riho, I think. Tony Schiavone, so Tony interviewed the Varsity Blondes. This is not a good. This is like if you did Pillman Jr. versus Malachi Black. I'm okay. I'm totally into that. That's cool. But the Varsity Blondes gimmick is awful. I like the team actually. I think Griff Garrison gets a bad rap, probably because he has a shit name. That is an awful name. But he's good. The other guy's great. Another guy that really messed up on the momentum. He had a lot going on with the feud with MJF to just end it, and then he's just basically back to where he was right before that. And then you put him back in this this is just a cheesy gimmick from the like early 90s, like we would see in WCW or WWF. It's terrible. And then you have, the dark guy with the big horns, like fighting these like college, like football. It just sucks. It's not good. The American Dragon versus John Silver. Now this was good. This was a fun match. John Silver is super over. Kenny, I used to think he might be a big star. Not really sure about that anymore. Another guy, I don't think they're really well. Okay, it's not their fault. I remember now he got hurt right when they were really starting to capitalize on his momentum. But American Dragon, a perfect heel. He's awesome. So this was a fun show. Fun show. There's some stuff I didn't like. Not the best Dynamite, but it was good. Old wrestlers still do interviews with Hannibal for paid. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he can do interviews on YouTube and stuff, but he's not going to get bookings. And if the interviews on YouTube were making big bucks, he probably wouldn't even be doing these matches. EC3 was a great promo Impact, but completely different character. I don't remember him. Elf Jack. I mean, no, it's a Santa hat. Go Malachi. I agree. Malachi Black needs to work on Spin the Mist. I think he should just drop the Mist. I don't think it really fits him. And he doesn't. I always have liked the Mist, but I've never seen guys do the Mist who couldn't do it. Maybe he just doesn't have the Japanese mist glands. But honestly, he's just not good at it. And I really like him. And just you got to get, if you can't do something very well, just don't do it. It's not that hard. All right. So we're going to get to these questions. I'm not going to be here all night. All right. Let me find these questions. All right. We're going to get to these questions. I think I got some in the email too. We'll get to them first. And if you have any in the chat, send them in with some asterisks around question. All right. I'm just pulling up the questions on on my thing. On my dong. No, on my phone gimmick here. A little bit of sore throat tonight. Not sore, kind of dry. I thought Gogo 13 sent me questions. Oh, here there. I have two different in your head emails. All right. Gogo 13. Do you know what happened to rival in your head show Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, hosted by Shooter Austin? Yeah, Shooter Austin. And I'm going to ask all the hard-hitting questions. I can't remember. Is that how Shooter Austin talked? I think it was something like that. And Louie. That's right. Shooter Austin and Louie. They were supposed to be the next big thing in internet wrestling radio. Attach is the intro and promo. Whoa! He's got the original promos here. All right. Let me try to play him. Maybe we can do this. Turn up the phone. It'll probably work. We'll just sit here and watch me load them up on my phone. I guess I can't. I would log into this email, but it's a different. Here we go.
And I just wanted. Hi guys, this is Shooter Aston, and I just wanted to go over like what you can expect from SMWR, because it's gonna be spent. You've been asking yourself like, where's my Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio? But it's coming. It's gonna be Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, and we're gonna have like all big guests. We have Triangle and Samojo, and DDP Diamond Dallas Page, Phil Bang, and we're not gonna be the boring interviews that you hear on other shows, because we're gonna do the hot seat, and we're gonna make them. They have to answer the shoots, because we want it. And unless you're a big name, we don't want you on. So it's gonna be
pretty awesome. All right. That was the intro for Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio.
This is Shooter Austin. Yeah. And just want to tell everybody about like what we got coming up soon on Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, which it's the evolution of revolution.
The evolution of revolution.
The other shows, they get like guys on, and they don't really ask the hard hitting questions.
They don't. I've been
like,
yeah.
Let's run softballs.
I've been accused of that myself.
like the curveball.
Oh, the
And we
curveballs.
got all these things lined up because, like, me and Louie, it's
Louie.
like on the night we were writing the other day, and we were writing down like the questions because we got Kurt Angle coming up from
Damn, they got Kurt Angle.
WWE.
We could never get him.
And he comes on shows and people, they're like afraid, like
They
asking like the
are
hard questions.
pissing their
like,
pants.
Why get Kurt Angle on just to ask about like the medals and like wrestling, but it's time to ask him like what he really thinks about like and like the like his like his neck and like drugs.
God
I don't give too
damn.
much away because
You gotta fucking ask him about his neck.
Called the Ring of Fire because we're gonna have the guys.
The Ring of Fire.
And we're gonna do the Ring of Fire. And
Holy
it's gonna
fuck.
be me and Louie throwing out rapid fire shoot questions, and the guest has to answer them like shoot wise, like really. He can't, he can't avoid it because this is gonna be, it's like the evolution of wrestling radio because we're gonna be more Howard Stern and like Meet CNN because we're gonna be like controversial, but yet we're gonna ask their how real questions, and so they gotta answer them, and it's not gonna be a walk in the park. This is gonna be it. This is like shoots. Like people buy the shoots, you have to pay for this. Not right away, but
this was at revolutionary because now people have shoots like you don't pay for.
The Insider does, where you gotta pay. We'll probably do a pay site probably in the next few months, where you gotta pay. We'll do the show for free, like the live show, and then pay for archives, and maybe we'll do some hotlines. We got all kinds of plans. It's really going to be big time. And
big time.
Our ultimate goal is, we want to get on the radio, but we're going to need all your help. So everybody send in the questions.
How the hell did I do this? I mean, how this guy sounds great.
Big yes, because this is Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, the evolution of revolution. We're playing for keeps. So, bitches, you gotta step aside, knuckle up because this is the new dog on the block.
I stole bitches from this guy.
And this is what's going on. So, I think that's about it for this week. Try to record me and Louie later on. But I don't know if Hobo John got the Skype worked out where we can record it because it's still tricky. But if any guys out there like, I've been going on the websites and plugging it, and we just made the MySpace because I heard that's like cool.
It is cool, Shooter Austin.
If any guys want to help out, just send me an email, and so some of the websites I like deleted my plugs because they're like paranoid. They see that this is the new kid. We gotta we try to squash them, but like we believe in competition. So if you come on our site and you plug your stuff, we're just gonna plug bars back even harder. You know what I'm saying? Because we're the evolution revolution, and the one website, the Interhead, they didn't delete the stuff.
That's right. We embraced this guy.
Might not buy them props. That they didn't delete our stuff, so they're not like afraid of the competition, which is cool. Maybe we can work together down the line.
Damn, I should take this guy, but he wouldn't have been no-showing me.
Who knows what else, is in store, maybe radio, we're not sure.
How long is this fucking promo?
Radio, maybe like Sirius, something like that.
But damn, they were getting way bigger than us.
Louie will be back.
Whatever happened to Louie?
Shows, any Kurt Angle, we got some more Joe.
See the guy who's jerking off in front of people?
All kinds of stuff in store. So, you go hold your seats, button your belt buckles, and get ready for a bumpy ride because we're playing for keeps and we're taking no prisoners because it's Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, the evolution of revolution. Bitches!
Boom, bitches. I stole bitches from this man. So, have you guys ever heard of If I Did It? It was the biography of O.J. Simpson that he wrote. If he was the murderer, this is how he would have done it. All right, let's take a page out of O.J. Simpson's book here for a minute. If I was Shooter Austin back in the day and intro was Louie, the idea was, now this is just let's just fantasy book here for a minute. The idea was I was going to, we were going to do both In Your Head and Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio and see like how many websites we could actually get this shit out on. But if I was this guy, I, for the life of me, I can't remember how I got my voice to do that, but it was probably before I drank a lot of bourbon. If I was Shooter Austin, but we all know that's no one could be Shooter Austin. That guy's fucking money. I'm just a hack compared to Shooter Austin, and fucking Incher is no Louis.
Hi guys, this is Shooter Aston again,
Whoa.
and welcome back to the Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio.
I must have forgot how I did the voice. I mean, this one's a little different.
I was hoping to have Louie with me this week, but we couldn't get a hold of Hobo John.
Hobo John.
So maybe next week we'll get him here and we'll do one together. And then you can be all prepared because we got the debut show coming up very soon. It's going to be Wednesdays from 7 to 9.
Was that the same time In Your Head was live?
Debut show, we're going to have Kurt Angle, who you all know from TNA and WWE, and he was also an Olympic gold medalist.
Really? Holy fuck, I didn't know that. This guy is a friggin' wrestling genius.
Yeah. I know you've seen him on other shows and heard him on other shows, but it's always like the softball questions.
True.
And it's boring. But this time it's gonna be hard balls with a couple curveballs because me and Louie during study hall a couple days ago, we wrote up the questions because this is a whole new way of interviewing that you've never seen before, you've never heard before, because this is the evolution of Revolution, Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio.
This guy's good though. He always gets a catchphrase in there. It's all about branding.
That you know Wrestling Radio because it's going to be the evolution of Wrestling
Michael
Radio.
DeVore Jr., he wants Shooter Austin merch.
And it's called
I have to work out a deal with this guy.
And we're going to have
I wonder if he's on Facebook.
He's going to be the first guy that's going to sit in the hot seat. And me and Louie are going to take turns throwing out hard-hitting questions, one after the other, and he has to answer.
This is good. No one thought of this. Like, you got to make the people answer the questions.
So bring his A game. I'm going to call him up and tell him, to come prepared because this isn't going to be the typical walk in the park.
Everyone else are just like, we'll just ask whatever.
Because this is
they don't even think like we'll make them answer.
Of Revolution, and we take no prisoners. So he's gonna put on a seatbelt and be prepared for a bumpy ride.
God damn!
The hard ball shoots and the rapid fire.
I gotta ask this guy before Rhett Titus comes on.
When he's in the hot seat, Kurt Angle in the debut in the Ring of Fire, and it's gonna turn heads. I'm gonna send out the press releases to Dave Meltzer and Pro Wrestling. The other websites.
There you go.
I don't have them in front of me, but all the big ones.
The hot.
Because it's gonna be big time.
It is.
And I do wanna say, some of these websites because I
remember Tazo jumped ship to this group for a while.
We put flyers. We plugged our show on the different websites, and most of them took them down because they're afraid of competition. They say, "Here's a new dog on the block," and I'm old news. And so what I do, they're like Triple H, and they push us down, because they see us
burying the upcoming talent.
We're not going to be the typical show. We got new ideas, and it's gonna, we're only gonna have big guests, not these. Some shows will bring on guests from 20 years ago, and people don't even know who they are. But we're only gonna have the big time guests that you see on the television.
Big time.
Because if you're not a TV, you're not a big star. That's just the way it is. I know
cut through.
That's rude or controversial, but that's the way it is. We're gonna say it the way it is here on Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio.
Man.
And,
God damn, this really reminds me when I had the fire.
Of drug problems, we're gonna ask them straight out. Do you still do drugs? Do you still do steroids? Do you?
It's a fucking fly flying on me because I'm a piece of shit compared to Austin, Shooter Austin.
Because that's what people want to hear. People only want to hear people they see on TV. Not people from 30 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like attacking me.
Considered legends. No one knows them unless you're an old man. And this is the internet, and the internet is for young dogs because that's
true. Look at NXT 2.0.
That's what I've come up with. And this is going to be controversial. It's going to be kind of like Howard Stern meets Rush Limbaugh, but it's going to be like CNN because we're going to ask the real questions, but yet it's going to be controversial, and it'll be funny at times because I'm going to ask the hard questions, but Louis can be a funny guy, and it'll be funny.
Louis is fucking hilarious.
Eventually we might do the pay site like the PWI Insider.
Getting out my pesos.
You hear our interviews for free, and then you pay for archives, and maybe like we might do hotlines because we might talk about like Raw or what we think because
I never thought about that. Man, we should start talking about what we think.
New voices and people who aren't afraid to tell it like it is, because that's what the revolution is all about.
Man, I gotta get a good catchphrase and just say it over and over.
Because in your head, then we, our stuff, because I guess they're not afraid of competition, which is, you have some people don't like in your head, but we'll give them their props because they,
Well, thank you, Shooter. I'm glad we're getting some props.
And that's what we like, because if we both put out our A games, and it only makes both shows better.
That's true.
So
it's true.
That's about it for this week. So everybody tune in for Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, the evolution of revolution, and prepare for a bumpy ride, and get prepared for the hot seat, Kurt Angle, and the debut of the Ring of Fire. And I'll talk to you.
I wonder if Shooter Austin ever.
And if you want to help out, we might
to see if I can find this Kurt Angle interview.
Or whatever, we'll give you a shout out on the show.
He probably was the precursor to Patreon.
At our show, because it costs money to call these people on Skype. And
did Shooter Austin start taking Ambien and become Hannibal?
Bitches.
God damn, freaking Shooter Austin. Well, that was pretty sweet. Thank you. What are your memories of the partnership of In Your Head at One Wrestling Radio? Attaches a clip of an interview with One Wrestling Radio and Jack. Is this the I'm not sure. Is this this isn't me on Get in the Ring. This is an interview I did on One Wrestling Radio. I don't remember this. I'll play it.
Out there was, you guys, because we stream online too, onewrestlingradio.com. But a lot of people were saying, we wish you guys had a podcast, because we like to listen in the car, and when you listen online, you can't listen in your car. Yeah. So you had to be in Philadelphia to listen over the air, or you had to be in front of a computer to listen. So in Los Angeles, I kept hearing the fans, and I said, okay, I'll do a podcast. So we went out, we secured the deal with Podomatic, and we were up on there, and now
I remember being on Podomatic.
35,000 people a week tune in and they listen to the podcast.
We were number one a lot on Podomatic back when we were good.
Top podcasts in this whole new podcast thing that I still don't even understand. So
this isn't me.
I'm looking at the podcast, and because there's so many podcasts for professional wrestling, and that's one of the things we try to separate ourselves from is the whole podcast thing, because this is legitimate radio.
Did Golgo think this is me?
And the whole podcast thing, we reluctantly got in the fold.
Who is this? This isn't me.
The best podcast out there.
Is this another character I created? I don't even remember.
Is a place called In Your Head Wrestling Radio. They broadcast out of Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm very proud to welcome into the voice of choice.
Hell yeah.
OneWrestling.com radio. We're going to fuse at this moment, right now, with Jack E. Jones. He is the leader of the Headyverse. It's In Your Head Wrestling.
What the hell did this happen?
Jack Jones, are you there?
Oh, man, I am here. How you doing?
I have no memory of this.
This is an amazing thing. You have two of the top 3 podcasts in the entire nation together.
Entire world, I believe.
Jack, I respect your show because, like I said just a couple minutes ago, I think
God, we used to be big time. Now we're just a bunch of couple of goofs.
Call themselves a podcast, and they try to book guests, and it just waters down the entire product of wrestling on the radio. You are the antithesis of that remark. You guys actually do a great job.
We were actually exactly that.
How long have you guys been doing the whole podcast thing?
Well, thanks about that. We've We're doing it for 6 years. Actually, when we started the show,
So
I
this
never
was
heard of podcasts,
2011.
and I think I'm not positive about this, but I think we predate the term podcast. Because we
I don't
only
even
been
know
doing
what
a podcast for like the last few years. Before that, we just did it on our own website.
I honestly don't remember this.
Yeah. And then were you like me, where you kept hearing people say, you need a podcast, you need a podcast, you need a podcast, and then you just kind of did?
Yeah, actually, I was just listening to you say that. That's exactly what happened, because I didn't know what they were. I'm 35, and I'm sure a lot of people my age use them.
35?
Everybody on
Holy
Discord
fuck.
and,
I'm
called in.
45 now.
They wanted a podcast, and we looked into it, and so we set one up.
Now, Jack, I made the mistake last week of I saw some people. I'm part of the Headyverse. That's their message on Facebook, and I saw some people say, "Well, what are we going to do because your show wasn't on the air?" So I said, "Oh, listen to OneWrestling.com radio," right? Knowing that we were going to do this little thing together. Now, let me tell you, Albert and King Magnus, my co-host here, these fans are rabid fans. These in your head fans. They attacked me one after the other. Because they
That is true, though. Our fans used to be really rabid. Now they're rabid the other way. They're like, fuck these guys.
Yeah, I felt a little bad about that because I know we talked about it, and then I started attacking you, and so I stood up for you. And I think
I still don't remember this. This was probably our pre. People don't know. Our original
people get along with, but I think you'll fit
in your head Facebook group got shut down. Honestly, the guys from Wrestling Soup kept reporting it and got it removed.
Who's coming up in the next couple of weeks?
It had we never got all the people back because it had like 10,000 people. We had like 6,000 now, but it was hard to rebuild when the whole thing gets shut down.
For jaywalking, but so he can't do it. We were going to have
Who
Zach
got
Gallen
arrested
on tonight, and he can't do it either. So I'm plugging nobody at the moment, but I'm trying to get a fill in. But in the coming weeks, I just actually talked to Mean Gene Okerlund. I was trying to get him to come on tonight for replacement. He can't do it tonight, but he said he'll be on after WrestleMania. So that should be really cool. And we got Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin coming on, and next week will be Sarah
that
Del
never
Rey.
happened. Sarah Del Rey did come on. Ron Garvin never came on.
Like I said, between these two shows, between OneWrestling.com radio and In Your Head Wrestling Radio, that's every major star that you could ever want to hear is on one of these two shows. There's no other.
What?
You don't need to go anywhere.
When did this happen? I don't remember this, and it must have went nowhere.
So, most wrestling fans, they don't have jobs or a girlfriend, so they have nothing to do. They get to sit back and listen.
No, I think it.
Hey, Jack, tell us how do people get to your site? How do people get to your show?
Yeah, it's like magic. You type in inyourheadonline.com right on your
I don't remember
browser,
this, and I don't remember anything happening from
we got
this.
a link up right now on OneWrestlingRadio.com. There's a big logo.
I'll be honest.
Click on that.
Throughout the years,
right after this show,
I didn't follow up on a lot of opportunities I should have. This was probably one of them.
That I'd rather do than listen to some good wrestling talk on a Wednesday night.
Exactly. And, people call in. It's 508-644-8503. We don't have the big bucks, so we don't have the toll-free number like One Wrestling Radio, but you guys can call in and talk to us about wrestling. And actually, tonight we'll be giving away.
I think Taz was right. I think this is a parallel universe. I don't remember this.
Right.
This is like from that Spider-Man movie coming up. We're in the multiverse, the multi-headyverse. Why is there a fly down here? It's like fucking 10 degrees out.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. How did Road Warrior Animal go? Or he hasn't been on yet?
There's good interviews and there's bad interviews. We've had both. The Road Warrior Animal did an excellent job. Great interview, great guy to talk to. And
our Road Warrior Animal did come on. I honestly have no memory of this. Not even. Listen to this. I still don't remember it ever happening.
Exactly.
I don't even know who this guy is. Who the hell is this guy?
Just kidding, but for the ones that do have jobs and things to do, that's why you get the podcast. You can listen to it.
What happened to this? Why were we never back on?
We'll look forward to hearing your show next.
Thanks, man.
All right. That's Jack.
What the hell happened there? Seemed like it probably could have been a big deal, but so my memory of work with One Wrestling is nothing. The only thing I remember about One Wrestling, we had a lot of contact in the real early days, 2005, but that was actually with when Joey Styles was there before he went to WWE. And quick story is I always remember this because I used to email with Joey Styles a lot. He was going to come on, and then he stopped replying, and then he ended up going to WWE. And I would still email with him, and he would still email back, but never about stuff coming on the show. And then one day he emailed me. It was a very strange email, as if like he didn't know who I was. And he's like, oh, don't send news to this email anymore because I'm no longer, affiliated with One Wrestling, but thanks for, it was like almost like a form letter and giving the new email to send the news and stuff to. And then right after that, I remember reading in the Observer that the people in WWE were, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something about like they couldn't leave their laptops exposed because they could see they were interacting with like people like from the dirt sheets and podcasts and stuff. And I assume that's why Joey Styles stopped replying to me. I don't know what this is. Walkie demands an apology. This is the last clip, I believe. This is very nice. Thank you.
Jack, Neil, hi. This is William Walkie. Hope everything's going good for you and everything else. I'm calling about a little situation that happened Wednesday night in your head. Something that, unfortunately, that made a lot of my brother mad. It made me mad. The situation involving when my brother came into your chat room and with the intention of having fun, with the intention of, enjoying being a part of In Your Head, like always. But instead of that, my brother was viciously and verbally attacked by the In Your Head fans, the hardcore assholes.
The hardcore assholes. That should be a
show.
shirt. Hardcore
Really
assholes.
attacked him for what-
Eddie Versus original.
for what me and Chuck did, what we felt was right. And I mean, God, Jack, I heard that and I was really upset. I really was, and I don't know what else.
No,
to say,
Tazo, these are clips that
And also the
Gogo
fact that
sent
I
me to
noticed
play.
on the In Your Head message boards that the thread that Chris the Crusher made in the situation with me, Goosey and Walkie, got unlocked mysteriously. Last I checked was my conversation with OIB, and it got locked up again. But it just begs to wonder.
It does
how
beg
it
to
got
wonder.
unlocked. Because the only people that I know has that power to lock is you, Chad, Barbie, and One Inch Biceps. So it just begs for me to wonder how that got locked back up when I was under the assumption that we were under the agreement. I was going to say, hey, it's your board. You can do whatever you want with it. And we were just going to let it go. And mysteriously, it got locked up, unlocked again. Now it's locked up again after I talked with Insure. But the entire situation that happened, it just sucks. I really wanted to
I think we're going to get it. It's not cool award here from
But
Walkie.
my brother, and he thinks, and I agree with him on this, that
This is, boy, I really
he
miss
deserves an
messages
apology
like
from you
this.
of everything that happened.
It's too bad we don't have that
Really
Skype number
really,
anymore
really
for
do.
people to call and leave voice
I mean,
messages.
This whole situation has been wrong on both parts, but
It's too bad you can't leave a voicemail on Zoom.
My brother does deserve an apology, and that's just how it is.
I'm sorry, Charlie Walkie.
I
I apologize
He gave you his cell
for
phone
all
number.
the hardcore
So,
assholes
I'll
out there.
I will say this. If you refuse, you
Whoa.
don't feel like you deserve an apology, then Chuck and I is going to have to review our intentions of promoting you guys.
What? This was the downfall of In Your Head. The Walker views. Stop promoting the show. First, I stopped getting back to One Wrestling.
It seems like you guys don't give a damn about our show.
But god damn it, we lost the promotion of the Walker views.
But the jackasses that that are the hardcore in your head fans, Casper, Duckman, and all those.
Oh
idiots.
man, Casper, he's no
My
longer with
brother.
us. Well, he's alive, but
You know,
Duckman, you
they-
hardcore
they're
asshole.
And involved in even head fans. I don't care about the whole public forum and all that. That's all agreeable between the both of us, but I'm not going to read too much about this. I'm in
Too
the middle
late.
of my 30-minute break here at the Quick Pickle Factory. I just thought I'd call you.
I'm here
I
packing
know that
pickles.
he deserves an apology. I agree with him. You know, if you feel like you disagree, then Chuck and I've got to re-review our
Good
our
Lord.
intentions of promoting you guys on our show.
Man.
So
This
sorry.
is why I really got back into the show when we got rid of
It's one and
Skype.
done, and I
You notice I don't miss shows a lot anymore? It's because I don't have to listen to this shit anymore on
people
friggin'
like
Skype.
Extreme, Casper, and all that.
Like, fuck, I'll log in. Here's a, oh, fuck. I don't even want to do the show after listening to 10 of these messages.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Whatever. Fucking pickle packing a faggot. I mean, pickle packing Walkie. You're a good man. It's a good guy like that guy. All right. So, why did Walkie demand an apology for his brother Chuck from Jack? I don't have from what I can gather, I don't remember this, honestly. Again, I do remember getting, not just from Walkie, but I would get a lot of voice messages on Skype when we had the Skype number, and it was exhausting. But I don't know. From it sounds like Casper, Duckman, whoever some other trolls were at that time, or I guess they were having a go at Chucky. If you guys don't remember Chuck Walker, Walkie was like usually like very laid back and nice, but Chucky was like a maniac. So I don't remember, and I have no remembrance of that one wrestling. What are your memories of the following in your head callers? The phenomenal CJ Styles. A young a young TFOTW, exactly. The phenomenal CJ Styles. I remember him being very young and rather annoying, but I'm sure he's a nice kid. No, he's a nice kid. I don't know what happened to him though. To me, the phenomenal one. I don't know. He's cool. The Dark Prince. I remember I remember him calling up, like getting takeout a lot. It's weird when someone like that who would call in weekly, like every week, not like without fail, just disappears. And I hope he's fine. Honestly, do hope he's fine. But it always does make me wonder, like if something bad happened to these people, or if we said something that pissed them off. I don't know. Crystal in Denver. I think she's having a baby, and I think she just got married. Crystal in Denver. She's always very nice. Casper, I really like Casper a lot. In the early days, he was around a lot. A guy that Barbie brought to the fan base, an English fellow. I think he's done pretty well for himself. I'm still friends with him on Facebook. I don't think he's like into wrestling and stuff anymore, but I think he's doing pretty well. I've seen him grow into a man. Julia, I'm friends with her on Facebook. She's looking pretty good, and she's legal age. But all kidding aside, it's always weird to me. Like people on the internet, unless I meet them in person, they're always like the same age, and like exactly how I remember when I first met him. So in my mind, she's always like this, like 14-year-old. But again, she's like a grown woman. Uncle Glenbow. Uncle Glenbow was really fun calls. People don't know he used to work with my brother Troy. He doesn't anymore. So he hasn't for a long time. So I think that's why he stopped calling in. But very fun calls. I don't think I ever actually met him in person. Spec's son, I would say the ultimate mark, and I mean that in a nice way. Like he is a guy that lives and breathes wrestling. Like he legit loves professional wrestling. I would say. I can't say I really have the love of I like watching AEW, but he's like a legit, like a real fan who really loves wrestling. That's great. Jai, fuck Jai. my fondest memory of Jai is he called us drunk after the show one night because he came in his pants. He was at a party and he ejaculated his pants. He was real drunk and he wanted to come over to my house and clean it up because I think he was embarrassed to go home. Wacko Bob. Now that is something. Wacko Bob, for people who don't remember, he'd be like everyone's favorite Wacko Bob. And he seemed like a really normal, kind of like dullard. Seemed like a nice guy. Then he like progressively got like, he would just lose his mind. Like, I think he like got off his meds or something and he would just flip out, kind of like the walkie thing. Okay, for people back in the day, in your head's message board, myself, I mean, I'll admit I was a big time troll before that was even a word. I think that troll. I enjoyed, in my mind, it was lighthearted stuff, but maybe it wasn't, but I enjoyed, riling people up and being what would be, considered a troll today. That was fun for me. And so the group had a lot of people like that involved. And this was before the days when anyone could just do a podcast. Now everyone can do a podcast easily. Then it was what was called internet radio. And a lot of it was terrestrial radio, like real radio shows, like Between the Ropes, Get the Ring. And then their archives would be on the internet to try to, get a bigger audience, a wider audience. And then there'd be just a handful of shows that, worked it out to be able to do what was called internet radio at the time, because it wasn't that easy. Now anyone could do it. There's programs everywhere to do it. Some you pay, some you could do it free. And so, so when we started, like none of us had any background. We're all in our 20s. I was the oldest of the three. I was 28 or 29 when we started. Incher was like mid 20s and Barbie was like 18, I think. And so, and everyone who else was doing it, even the people that weren't on terrestrial radio, they all had broadcasting degrees. And so we started on wrestling. What is the Wrestle Talk Radio? It's like a home of wrestling podcasts, wrestling radio shows at the time. And so it was Get in the Ring, Wrestle Talk Live, and Monday Night Mayhem. And so we started, so it was really three dudes just putting together a show. We did it kind of out of just kind of goofiness, just to have fun. People liked it, so I thought we'd try to get guests, and we got like honestly big guests: J.J. Dillon, Harley Race, Goldberg, Mick Foley was there. Well, those three got the first three though were in the first year. Paul Bearer, Terry Funk, all in the first year of doing the show with no like track record of anything, never on the radio or notice went to school to broadcast any of that. And so the other, not everyone, but there almost pretty much everyone had a degree of, I don't want to say bitterness, but they didn't respect us. And some of them took that to like like they would really look down on us and were mad. But we had a very big fan base on this message board. Right, but I would say Get in the Ring had the biggest fan base, but that was really the twilight of Get in the Ring. So that their fan base, I mean, we were all fans of Get in the Ring that started the show. So it was really we shared the same fan base because it was us. There was very little Get in the Ring fans that didn't like us because we were with fellow Get in the Ring fans, but they didn't like some of the other shows anyway. A lot of it, some of it was north for south kind of thing, the southern guys. But the point being, the other shows, especially Monday Night Mayhem, were verbal about not respecting us. And that really cultivated the trolls to come out and attack those guys because it was the established, people, the guys that, I mean, really, it was almost like sports entertainment and like the underground ECW or something, because we were just three guys who, were doing this ourselves. We didn't have any sponsors. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were just doing it because we liked doing it. And then you had Mosh, who really epitomized like very like, almost sounded scripted, had the fake radio voice. And then, so people were kind of against him anyway. And then to top it off, when he really had like this attitude, that was not the way to win people over at that time. And so it worked reverse. So people would really attack him. And so we had a fan base that not only supported us, but would really attack the other shows. And so that was really, what was going on with in your head at the time. I don't even remember the question. Wacko Bob. So he was a guy kind of like Chuck, where he didn't really mix with those guys. You had to be a different kind of fan to fit in with them. You couldn't take things too serious. You had to be able to joke around with other people, because otherwise they would eat you up. If you'd get your trolls anyway, but when a troll knows they're getting to you, then that doesn't make them back off. That makes them go harder on you because they know they're getting the reaction. So a guy like Bob would get, a little bit of, to begin with, harmless trolling. He'd really react, and then boom, that would open the floodgates, and they would just be attacking them. So Bob would get a lot of that, and then he would really fly out the handle then, and he'd start challenging people, and he just went crazy. It was really weird because if you'd ever hear him, he's like this really calm. It almost sounds like he's like, medicated or something. But in text he'd be crazy, and every once in a while he would in audio too. I remember he challenged me to like a fight once in audio form. It was very weird, Wacko Bob. Then there was stuff he'd write poetry. The old message board is a lot of fun, so it was wild times. But I think he's still around, Wacko Bob Garcia. Throw old dox him. It's not doxing, it's out there, but anyway, Wacko Bob. We could do a whole show about Wacko Bob, I think. So yeah, Wacko Bob. But yeah, he challenged me. He's like, I challenge you, Neil Jones. He would say my whole name, and this was long after people knew I was Neil. There was a time they didn't. I kept it. People didn't know Jackie Jones and Neil Jones was the same person, but at this point they did. And then he would just keep saying, I challenge you, Neil Jones, as if like it was some big revelation that I was Neil Jones. It was just like, what in the hell? All right. Sounds like some BWO bullcrap hit old Chuck. It's possible. You've seen a lot of man meat grow. Hey, wait a minute. I think they mean dinglings. Ray Comble. Chuck Whopper was a psychopath. Yeah, he's crazy. What about that Fontana guy? Which one? Oh, is that Michael DeVore? Is that your name on the board? Fontana? I remember him. In your head message board is down. Oh, is it? I don't know. I remember we got it back up working. I don't know if is it down again? I don't know. I missed the old message boards. The Carol Crockett Cup was a blast. It was. It just seems like we tried to bring it back, but I just think I'm trying to bring back a message board. It's just hard to do in modern day. Social media, for the most part, killed off the message boards. Goosey, I was like 12, and Wacko Bob would like be posting everything about me, including my address. The dark match was Wacko Bob's wrestling show. What a great name for a show. Another thing was Wacko Bob. He'd always talk about my Dylan. And then we saw a picture and he on his MySpace, and he'd have this young boy. And I'm not saying anything happened, but he had a young boy sitting on his lap. It was his nephew Dylan, and they were under the mistletoe. And you can't make this stuff up. I was just like a totally oblivious, unself-aware guy. Is Wacko Bob. But I'll say that he's a good man, that Wacko Bob. It's a good guy. Wish him well. It would be fun. Wacko Bob, if you are out there, you probably still listen, I bet, secretly. Zoom in. Bosh, anybody. I'm good with that. All right. Steve Simmons, have you ever tried to reconcile with Sheiky Baby? So for people who don't know the story, I think this was our first year too, 2005, or maybe the second. It was either 2005 or 2006. And we got the Iron Sheik on. So another thing in the early days, I was accused of stealing the master guest list from Get in the Ring. So what happened was they gave me the guest list to book guests for Get in the Ring. So I had all these numbers. I actually got advice early on from Sir Adam of Get in the Ring about getting guests. He was like, just ask people, find their emails. This is before social media, so it was a little harder. You had to get emails and stuff. Or like if a convention was going on, a book came out, something that they needed to plug, get in contact. Things have really changed since then. So this advice doesn't really work anymore because the wrestling, especially, other podcasts a little different, but wrestling especially, with two things: the rise of wrestler hosted podcast. Other wrestlers are more likely to do those, which makes sense. I mean, are you going to go talk to Steve Austin? You're going to go talk to to some dude. And the rise of podcasts who pay money. So Hannibal pays money to the guests come on. I think I forget the guy's name, but he's the co-host of Don Morocco's podcast, and he pays all the guests to come on, and some others. Pretty much all the podcasts you see get a lot of guests that do video shows that aren't wrestling hosted. And especially if they're on a Patreon or they cut the interviews up and do all these pieces, most of those pay the guest. And I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying they do. So the fact that they pay the guest, so either they can go on talk to Jim Ross or Steve Austin or the Blue Meanie or everyone, and nothing against that. That's fine. They could go to Conan, all these guys. Or they could, if they are going to do a Mark podcast, they're going to get like $300 or maybe more, depending on the guest, a pop. So the idea of coming on a free show just to talk is rare, unless they're friends of ours that we've established over the years, like George South or Luke Hawx or something like that. Well, there's exceptions, but anyway, that's really changed from when we started. When we started, there wasn't the podcast, so people, Paul Bearer was happy to come on, Dick Destroyer, Dick Beyer, guys like this, Baron von Raschke, Terry Funk on multiple times, Tully Blanchard, Holly Race, all these people, Mick Foley, they were cool to come on, either just talk about wrestling or because this wasn't everywhere, to do. Or, if they have a book out like Chris Jericho, Mick Foley, guys like that would come on and talk about the book. But anyway, what I was saying was, so I got this list of all the guests that used to be on Get in the Ring, and it was to, set them up for them, which I did briefly. And then another thing, when I started too, for people who don't know, I used to do the recaps for Get in the Ring because, first, they offered me money. I wasn't really interested in that, but they offered me, I could plug In Your Head because I think they knew I was Jack. Either they knew. Actually, I don't think they did. They knew I helped In Your Head with the. This is a really weird thing because at the beginning, people don't know this. Not even Incher or Barbie knew I was Jack. They thought Jack and Neil were two different people. They knew Neil, real name Neil Jones, was a guy named Hugh Mungus. So on the message board, I was Hugh Mungus and Jack. Jack was like my troll account. And, but people didn't know they were the same person. And so to do the recaps for Get in the Ring, I agreed to do them if I could plug In Your Head in the recaps, which really helped in the early days to help get the show out there. Cause it would say, hey, this big interview on Get in the Ring, here's the recap. And then it's, recap by Neil Jones of InYourHeadOnline.com. So that would go out everywhere. It'd go on One Wrestling. It would go on Wrestling Observer website. I don't think they even had a website then. It might have just been the Wrestling Observer. So it'd go on all the websites, Pro Wrestling News, whatever was out there, and would have the thing. Also, that's where I learned the importance of recaps. And so I would do them, and then eventually I got other people to do, Buck Winchester, Vic Shoney, to do recaps of the interviews, and I would send them out. Now, I did keep the emails the press emails. So I had, Meltzer, but these are easy to get, but it was nice to have a list of emails, Meltzer, I think it was whoever was running One Wrestling at the time. I can't remember. I don't know if it was the current guys or it might have been Styles at the time. But anyway, it was all the guys. So I kept all these emails, and how I would send out the ones for Get in the Ring, I started sending the ones for In Your Head, and it did very well for the show. But people knew about me having this list of numbers for In Your Head, for Get in the Ring guests. And they said I stole this, which is not true. It's given to me. How would I steal? Did I break into the Phantom's friggin' email and his computer and hack it? I mean, it makes no sense. But the thing is, the idea, even if you have these phone numbers, the idea of just using them to get interviews is kind of silly, because if you just call someone out of the blue, most of them are going to ask, like, how the hell did you get my number? And like, well, what do you call? Like, so I actually called Mick Foley. This before we booked Mick Foley later on when his book came out, one of his books came out. But I called him originally with this number, and it was very awkward. It's like, how'd you get this number? It's actually my wife's number. And so I decided not to use that number again. The only numbers I used after that was Kevin Von Erich, which never panned out, and Iron Sheik. And the Iron Sheik one was the only address, the only phone number I used off this master list that actually came to fruition. So I called it. I talked to I don't know who he was, like his houseboy or something, and set up the interview. So Wednesday night came along. I think we were doing the show at 6:05. And to set this all up, so we call them at 6. Sky tells me they keep telling us to call back like every half hour. And eventually we get Sheik on. I think it was like 3 hours into the show. So it's a 3-hour build up to the Iron Sheik. This was before Iron Sheik blew up on Stern and was really known as the crazy guy yet. And right away, 5 minutes into the interview, I asked my first question. He blows up. He says, "What? I am not Osama bin Laden. I'm not fucking comedy." And he hangs up on me. He's a big wild thing. So actually, that night we tried calling him back, and we just got the houseboy again. And then I called Sheik the very next day to apologize, and he didn't remember any of it. So I did try to reconcile with Sheik to answer the question in a very long about way, but it was actually the very next day, and he did not remember. And then actually a few years ago, I interviewed the Iron Sheik again on Without Your Head, and it was a very pleasant interview, and not nearly as many hits, because the original interview was a huge number of hits. That was actually even sampled on many wrestling websites. Rome Williams' worst guest experience that wasn't the fault of the guest. Interesting. So that would make it was a fault of my own. Well, it would be egotistical to say no guest was bad because of me. I am confident that I'm a good interviewer. I've done a lot of them. I mean, even if you don't hear a lot of them here on In Your Head now, I do a lot of them on Without Your Head. There I can't say they're all great by any means, but most of them I would say, well, I mean, the Iron Sheik one wasn't good, but people love it. I'm not really sure whose fault that one was. I can't say. I think that was more misunderstanding's fault because of the language difference. That's a good question, but I can't think of one that's bad I hate to say I can't think of one that's bad because of me, but I can't think of one that's bad because I don't really think there's that many that are bad, honestly. I don't have too many bad experiences with guests. Why is Incher so gay? Because he's full of life and joy. Let's get to, I don't want to miss your guys' questions. Card stories. Oh, GW Awakened Dream. GR Awakened Dream. Did you ever interview Ole Anderson? No, I always wanted to. I'm a big fan of Ole Anderson. I remember meeting him many times at FanFest, and I still stand by the fact that a lot of people just misunderstand him. I think a lot of what he says is his own sense of humor, a very dry sense of humor. I actually like him a lot. I like him in interviews. I would like to have him on. Card stories. I missed the Jimmy Jam calls. I do too. Rest in peace, Jimmy Jam. It would be really cool having him as part of the new era of the show here on YouTube. What happened to the guy that would call in that was an artist for GCW and the like? I'm not sure who that is. Is that the guy who did the paintings we gave away on the show? I'm not sure. He does really nice artwork. If that's him, we gave away on this. Oh no, I think he means Shaheen. I don't know. He was calling in, zooming in every week here for a while. I don't know what happened. I remember Sid saying to Carol, "Congratulations, you know a cameraman." That's in reference to being related to Jackie Crockett. Go 13. I cut promos for Carol Crockett Cup and did impressions of Goosey, Dave Meltzer, and Jim Barnett. Card stories. Is it because it is a video show now that they want to be paid to be on? No, I think it's the fact that that they get paid. Other people are offering to pay. And so if you could do an interview for $300, why would you do one for free? I'm not even saying it's not good for the shows necessarily, but I'm not saying that's not smart on their end. I don't blame people. I mean, if other people are willing to pay, your Henry Hill interview still makes me pop to this day. It was very cool to have Henry Hill on the show. I'm planning actually on interviewing his ex. Not his ex-wife, they weren't married, his ex-girlfriend, and she knows some other ex-wives of mafia guys and wants to do a series of interviews, which I'm going to do on my show I haven't done for a while, but Inside Your Head, where I do the non-wrestling and non-horror shows. I'm probably just going to combine that with Without Your Head on the Without Your Head network. I know In Your Head and Shaheen got sideways for a while. I think Shaheen had a wrestling show. Never heard of it, and he got butthurt because his show was not good as In Your Head. Yeah, I can't. I mean, it's him and Box, man. I don't really remember what. I don't remember the exact. I know either he called In Your Head when I wasn't on, or Incher and Clinton went on their show when I wasn't around, and I don't know exactly what happened, but I remember, they were pissed. And I'll just say this: when I got very sick, both of them reached out. It was very nice, and I honestly believe not in holding grudges. Life is too short, and you don't know when you won't be here. Life is finite, and so to me, there's no reason to hold grudges. So they apologized. I accepted, and life goes on. Kid Authority, you got John of Hackers to do it. AKA OIB. Bum, 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 bum. Go 13. Athena Batista was weird. That was a weird interview. That's probably a bad interview and not her fault. It's one I probably shouldn't have done. I don't think that was that's definitely not a good interview of mine. So that's a good pick, Golgo. I didn't even think of that, but I would say that was a bad experience, and not the fault of the guest. That was one I shouldn't have set up. The card stories. Have you ever thought of doing another McCamey Manor interview? Yeah, I would like to do another one, especially since Trista's on Without Your Head now. People don't know. I did a show with Troy, Terrible Troy, and Trista Robinson. Trista Robinson's a actress out in LA, and she also does. She's a big fan of haunts, and so she knows the McCamey Manor, so I think that would be a good guest to revisit. I think he's not doing interviews currently, but I know he had a good time on our show. Maybe he will make an exception, and I'll look into that. It would be cool. Would have been good to do it around Halloween, so I'll probably look into it in the new year because I think I've got quite a few guests lined up. Actually, pretty cool. Next Monday, it'll be a special Monday show. I'm not sure if it'll be live or not, but Monday I'm going to be interviewing Fred the Hammer Williamson for Without Your Head. Very excited about that. Urius Tosh, what wrestler scared you as a child? Honestly, I was never scared of wrestling as a kid. Not to be a tough guy, but I was watching horror movies since a little kid. Nothing really scared me. The only things that scared me was magic. Not magic like people doing magic tricks, but the trailer for the old movie Magic scared me. But no wrestler scared me as a child. And I'm not trying to be a tough dude because I'm not a tough man. But K. Abraham Lincoln, would putting super glue on a woman's pants before she gets Lexard be a good rib? Interesting. Alexa, I can't get go. I can't get loose. I can't get loose. Sean Green, where did the idea for In Your Head come from? And who was your best interview in show history? So, as I talked about earlier, we're all fans of Get in the Ring. We were all on the message board. Intra started a Yahoo fan group for Joe from Tom's River, who was a fellow fan of Get in the Ring. Instead of starting a fan group for Get in the Ring, he just started one for Joe from Tom's River. And we had planned we were all going to get together and have some kind of all the fans were going to get together. But only me and Incher and this one other guy showed up, Oro. And at the time, Oro, he was in some kind of trouble on the board. He was banned for some reason or suspended for something. I honestly don't remember why. And he was a Japanese wrestling fan, not a fan of Japanese wrestling. He was a Japanese man who was a fan of Getting the Ring. And so we were in this text chat, and for some reason, I've decided we should make it like an interview segment where I would interview Oro about getting in trouble on the message board. And Incher was like my sidekick. And when I mean a talk show, it was more like the Tonight Show. So it was like me and he was like my Andy, my sidekick. And then I don't know. I remember it being kind of fun. And then I made, because the Yahoo chat you couldn't copy and paste. So I actually made Incher transcribe the whole thing. He wrote it out all by hand, and then we put it online, and people got a kick out of it. So during that show, at that time, I was jacking off, and just as a joke, I thought we'd call a show "Jacking Off in Your Head," as in jacking off in your head. And it's a play on words. It could also be about getting in your head. So the whole idea was it was going to be a fake talk show. It was like a mockery of wrestling podcast before podcasts existed. So it was like a mock wrestling radio show where the idea was we would interview wrestling fans, which is actually, I think, what Cole Cabana is doing right now. And so we interviewed Oro, and we interviewed Joe from Tom's River, and I think we did 3 text ones. Super Thermotite, I think, was the third one. Yeah, he was a fan. He's no longer around. I don't know what happened to that guy. And then, so people actually got a kick out of these. And so I Incher at the time, because he's a lot more tech savvy than me, he had heard of this new program Skype, which really wasn't talked about at the time. We were the first ones I know of. I'm sure other people did, but we were the first one in this group that used Skype in the audio wrestling world. And so, he's like, I think if we use this Skype program, we could actually record a thing if you want. And I was like, okay. So the working idea was we were always going to interview wrestling fans. That was not, we're never going to interview like real people or even really do a show. It would just be a couple goofs, fake wrestling shows where we interviewed fans. And so Goosey brings up Casino Man. I was going to bring up Casino Man was scheduled to be on the audio version, but we never actually did that one. I don't remember why. So the first one we did was going to be with Barbie Richards. Barbed wire on the message. And so Incher and I filmed the first part of it where it's just me and him talking, kind of like what In Your Head is still today, just me and Incher talking. And honestly, I think we immediately had chemistry together. We play off each other well. Our sense of humor works. Even though it's a little different, I think it works together, plays well with each other. And so we recorded that. And then we were supposed to record it with Barbie that same day, but it kept getting postponed, I think, at least a week. And we finally recorded this interview with Barbie, with Barbed Wire. And so we put that together as a show. It's almost like this, Today shows, if we have a guest where, although now we usually do the post show after the guest, but this was like pre-show, me and Incher talking, and then interview with Barb. Barbie told me that Incher invited him to be the third co-host. And Barb told Incher that I invited him to be the third co-host. Neither of us invited him, but it was totally fine. I think it definitely worked for the time. Three hosts, three voices of wrestling. I definitely had more of the old school knowledge, and I liked old school wrestling better. Incher, more of the mainstream wrestling, I'd say, and then Barbie was the guy who knew all about the indie. I mean, he was big on CM Punk and guys before, they went to WWE. So he was, following Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and all these things. And plus, he's British. So it was, three different voices, a Southern guy, the North guy, the British guy, everyone bringing a different vibe, a different voice to the show. And none of us, question, Barbie being there. So I don't want it to seem like he just, jumped in and wasn't welcome, because it worked. But it is funny, though, that no one actually invited. It just happened. But hey, it worked. All right. And who was your best interview in the show history? It's somewhat really hard one to answer. My gut is Terry Funk, because I love Terry Funk. To me, it's like that first year, there's a few guests to me that are really special to the show. C.W. Anderson, because it's the first actually guest we had, I would say. J.J. Dillon's the first guest that I think was a mainstream name that I grew up with. And also the first time I felt like I was good at this. This is a good interview. This is something I can do. And Terry Funk, because it was like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, right up. He's like one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers. And at the time all the interviews he always did at that time were very serious, and they really focused on, it was kind of like people still want to talk about the behind the mat stuff. So it was very serious, very depressing stuff. And he's good at that. But to me, Terry's very funny as well. So a Terry Funk and Paul Bearer and Gary Hart are guys that to me always really fit in with the show, because they had lots of knowledge, but they also were not afraid to be goofy, which to me was always the strength of the show. Like, I think I have a lot of, I'm not so much, I don't really follow wrestling over, but I knew a lot about wrestling, especially old school wrestling, but I like to be goofy too. So my plan was with the Terry Funk interview was not to do like what everyone was doing and have a super serious interview, but have a fun interview. And I really think it was, I put up there with any Terry Funk interview. I think it's great. It's very entertaining. All 3 of his interviews with us. The second one, I remember not being quite as good, but the first and the third interview, I think, are tremendous. Very fun. you get real stuff in there, but you also just get a good time. So I would say I'm just gonna put Funk, but there's lots of guys I like to include in there. George South is another one. Kay Abraham Lincoln. Would you get a steamer if you went down to Cleveland? Well, I mean, I can get steamers here pretty cheap because Cape Cod is the home of steamed clams. Stephen Butler, do you know what Barbie Richards is up to today? I do not. I know Incher had talked to him, I think, on a gaming thing. So what happened to Barbie? People ask us all the time, and I feel like I've mentioned it many, many times, but I realize not everyone listens to every minute of every show. So he just stopped coming around, honestly. And we didn't hear from him for like a year and a half, I think. To me, I mean, this is years ago, so whatever, but it didn't sit well with me. Now, if he just quit, that's totally fine. Me and him never got along very well, I'll be honest. Like, I wouldn't say we disliked each other, but they're very different people. Also, I think we're both I don't say alpha because that's kind of a lame term, but I think we both wanted their show to be our show. I think, and not that it's not Incher's show because it is Incher's show, but he doesn't have that personality where he wants to be the center of attention. And I think I've gotten better with that over the years. But when I was younger, I definitely had a lot of that in me. You have a lot more angst and stuff when you're young. And so I was a young 20-year-old, and like, this is like my new platform. I really wanted to be the center of the show, and so did Barbie. And so we butted heads a lot. And so we always I always would compare it to like brothers who, oddly enough, I've always gotten along with my brother. We don't fight at all, but like a typical siblings where together you're not so great. But I never, if someone was shitting on him or vice versa, we would be there to stand up for the other one. So it wasn't like we hated each other, but we didn't necessarily get along. We didn't really like talk off the show like Incher and I do. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it just was unprofessional not to show up and not to tell any of us because we didn't have any connection to anyone else. It's not like some other people, like if they stopped talking to you, you could look on their social media, and I hate to say something happened, you could see something happen, but it was like, okay, if you don't want to do the show, it's cool, but you should tell us. And without saying anything, I mean, I didn't know if he went to jail. I didn't know if he got sick. I don't know if he died. I know all these things are terrible things. I definitely didn't want any of those things to happen, but who knows when he doesn't tell you. So like a year and a half later, he came around. I don't think he ever talked to me again, honestly, but he messaged Incher, I think on a gaming thing, that his cat died, which is very sad, but I don't know what he's doing. I honestly don't know anything about him. I really don't. Stephen Butler, how did you come up with the name of the show in your head? I mentioned earlier. So the original name I used was Jack, wasn't Jackie Jones, it was Jackin' Off. And so it was a play off that. Jackin' Off in your head was the whole name. And my catchphrase used to be, there's never a bad time for a little jacking off. And then when we started to get guests, I knew Jackin' Off would work. Also, after probably 3 shows or so, the Jackin' Off name like kind of ran its course for comedy for me. So then it was just Jack. I don't know when Jackie Jones started. It was kind of probably 3 or 4 years into the show, at least. It was, it wasn't right away, but I think the good thing about in your head is it doesn't have to mean with anything, jacking off in your head. It could just be we're getting inside your head. Inside you probably work more better, I guess, if you think about it. But in your head works. Get inside your head. Who would win a fight between Owl Oob and Lexar? Let's see. Owl knows karate, but Lexar's crazy and he'll burn a house down. So I would say Lexar. Tyler Stevens, thoughts on Hannibal stabbing someone without their permission? I don't believe he did that. I said earlier, I think the guy knew he's doing it. He bladed his head. He put the blade away in his shirt. Everyone seems to say that was the original idea, was they knew that was doing it. But I do agree that with his history with Abdul the Butcher, the idea of blading somebody, but he didn't blade him. The guy bladed himself, but I don't know if he stabbed him. If he did anything, he went too far, but it's not exactly how some people are saying this. Favorite memories of Jimmy Jam? I mean, just his calls, he was really part of the show. He was always online, even if he's just in the background. It's sad. Well, it's awful. He died so young. He was only in his 20s, but I think he'd have a lot of fun in the modern day being here on the show with us, on Zoom with us. Dak Man asked a classic question during a Terry Funk interview. That's true. That is true. So yes, we had Terry Funk on the show. One of my all-time favorites. So it was a really big moment for me. It was really going good. Near the end of the show, Duckman calls in, and Duckman later on told me he called in thinking that it was just me doing a Terry Funk impression because he didn't think we actually got really Terry Funk on, because we weren't getting like A-list guys at the time. And so Duckman calls and goes, "Yeah, it's Duckman." I was like, "You got a question for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, is it true you fucked Missy Hyatt on the Thanksgiving table?" And then Terry Funk, and in my mind, in the split second, I'm like, "Oh God, Terry Funk's gonna hang up. My hero, Terry Funk's hanging up. He's gonna tell all the other wrestlers, don't do this show. It's unprofessional." Without missing a beat, Terry Funk goes, "No, it was the Christmas table." And I was like, "Oh man, Terry's the man. He gets in your head." It was very funny. Wasn't Incher recording the show on VHS back then? Yes, the first 2 or 3 episodes, Incher, because we would get on Skype, but people don't. If you weren't around back then, you don't realize it was really hard to record multiple computers. You could record your own, but to record on multiple computers is tricky because it would pick up double audio, because it would pick up your audio and then would also pick up your voice on the other audio. You would normally need 2 computers or a mixer to do this. So anyway, Intro was recording to a VHS, and so he'd record the show to a VHS tape, and then he would rip the audio off the VHS tape. Did you see Jimmy Rave? Yeah, Jimmy Rave. That's very sad. Had both his legs amputated, his arm amputated from staph infections, and he passed away. Only 39. Just horrible. No, I don't know what else to say. It's just heartbreaking. Very sad. 3 kids. Whatever happened to Duckman? Duckman's still on the group. I was just talking today. He's Duck Nixon on the group. You probably see him pushed a lot. Who was the most dangerous wrestler in real life you had on the show? I would say New Jack. Well, maybe Rock Roll's Buck Zumhoff in a different way. Tyler Stevens, which wrestlers were you nervous to interview? Let's see here. I want to sound like I didn't really get nervous before interviews. Maybe Goldberg. Honestly, like Terry Funk, you would think, because he was maybe a J.J. Dillon one. I don't know. I was really prepared for that one. I read the whole book and took a lot of notes. That one really boosted my confidence. Tyler Stevens, can you log on to Skype and call Swax to bury the hatchet live on the show? Nope. But there's no hatchet to bury. He's fine. I hope he's doing all right. But I don't want to talk to him. Dobbs Dean Maya. My God, those burn marks at Cody look horrible. How long do you think it will take to clear up? I don't think they ever will. I think, well, they might get a little better, but I think he's going to be permanently scarred from them unless he gets plastic surgery of some kind. Nikhil Callahan. Excuse me. Do you remember the first conversation you had with OIB to start a wrestling podcast? You know, I went over it earlier, but I used to talk to Incher on MSN Messenger, which isn't around anymore. And I do remember this. So I don't remember the exact, I know it was his idea actually, but I do. It was, when I was talking about, he didn't know who that Jack and Neil were the same person. He had asked Neil to listen to the show, and he's like, "What do you think of this? Because I don't know if I want to keep doing this." And so I told him as Neil that I thought him and Jack had really good chemistry. They were good together, which is I do think is true. But I encouraged him as another person, even though they're both me. I don't know if that's a sign of insanity or what. As a result, did you get or one of the Barbie thing? Did you envision in your head being around for 15 years? No, definitely not. When we started, I thought we'd do just a few of them. It would be funny, and that would be the end of it. I didn't think anyone would give a shit or listen. How did you meet? Honestly, it was more of a troll thing, like as a fake, show. Let's put this up here where the people are interviewing wrestlers. We're going to interview wrestling fans. How did you meet the old message board? Who did you meet on the old message board? Met Van, Spexon, Incher, Jason Minton. I don't remember what his name is on there. Fatty, Boom Daddy, Big Fat Dobbs Dean Mia, he's known as now. Shit. I met Julia once at a show. God, I know I'm missing a lot of people, but I met a lot of them at Fan Fest. Raven Effect, I met on a few years ago. Vic Schiavone. What year was the first time? He also wants to know who's still part of the Headyverse. I mean, Duckman's still around, Nikhil's around, Dobbs around, Gogo 13. Lots of people. What year was the first time Lexar called? I'm not really sure when Lexar started calling. I would guess 2010 or 11, maybe. What year is the first time Steven called? I think he called pretty early on, but he didn't call a lot till a little bit after that, I think. What was the first time Goosey called? I think quite early. Because he was a WNL guy, Wrestling News Live guy. And so I think he's been calling it since he was a kid. It's got to be pretty early. I'm not sure exact year. I just guess 2007. I don't know. What year is the first time Vic called? I don't know. 2008, 2007, something like that. Who really annoyed you on the message board? No doubt, Big Mosh. Big Mosh was very annoying. I'm sure there are other people, but that's really the one that stands out. When did you first meet Tazo? He was on the board. That was pretty early, wasn't it? 2006, 2007, maybe. Which member of the Headyverse have you met in person? Did he ask me that? Oh, maybe the first one was who did we meet? I'm not sure. Who did I meet in person? The people I messaged earlier. How did you has anyone came up to you in public, recognizes you from Inuit? Yeah, Raven Effect, I mentioned earlier. At conventions a lot. At conventions, well, this is probably because I haven't done conventions really since I started doing video, but it would be when they started hearing me. But I guess that's because it was, an audio podcast. But that would happen. I'd be talking and people would say, "Oh, I know that. That's I know your voice. Are you Jackie Jones or Jack, whatever?" It's happened a few times, just even outside of wrestling events. Both in your head and without your head, and also in town, they just know, some people just know me as the walking guy, that's really weird. How did you meet Tyler, the web? Oh, interesting, Tyler. So, Tyler's also a Get in the Ring fan on the old board. He was Tyler, and so that's honestly, I've always considered him the fourth man of the group, because so Intra knew about Skype and how to record. I'm just fucking the great personality. I don't know, and but Tyler knows all about web stuff. So we didn't know, what do you do once you record this audio? What the hell do you do with it? Because this was before podcast. Podcast didn't come around until the year after. So we didn't even know what to do with it. And Tyler's like, "Oh, I can build you a website, and you can, host we weren't using MP3s, and we were using WMA, I think. And so we put the shows up, and you could download them off the website." I was on the old audio wrestling message boards, right, Gogu? Michael DeVore, we met at Days of the Dead. Very cool. I don't know. There's a fly flying around here. I do think it's a sign of Satan, Taza. Interesting. I've been interested in those VHS tape recordings. That would be a good thing to sell. Any thoughts on the death of Blackjack and Lindsay? It was very sad. He's definitely before my day, so I don't really have any memories of him, but it's sad. Patrick Howell, tell Geraldine. Patrick says, "Hey, pretty lady." I'm sure I'll let her know. She's boom under the table, Patrick, if you catch my drift. She's not. I'm just joking. I want to meet Neil Jones face to face one day, Alexa. All right. 2010 was the first time I called in. I think it was. I said that. I guessed. I think. Do you want to Lexar him one day? Whoa. Do you still have those crazy Uncle Sam hats? I do. Card stores. I think I wore one on Friday on 4th of July, but I'll wear one again after Christmas. After Christmas, I'll break one up. Who will take over in your head if you tire? I would assume it probably would just go away. Either Intro would keep it up, or it will just go away. They'd have to get all my. I don't think there'd really be a show without either of us. Nikhil Callahan, can I ask Russ a question? Sure. Vic Schiavone, what interview most exceeded your expectations? Wow, that's a good question. Well, there's a lot of them. I'd have to look at the archives, though. That's always the best. Us, Larry Sweeney, just because a lot of independent guys I don't think are particularly good interviews. Although I did expect that one in pretty good because he's such a good promo. I wanted to say Max Payne, but I was really looking forward to that one. But I think that's a really underrated interview, Max Payne. I guess Sean Oliver, really, because, it's like you're interviewing a guy who interviews people that might not be an A-list guest, but another guy I think has good chemistry with us in very fun interviews. So I'm going to say, I forget what I just said. Sean Oliver. On the other hand, what interview was the most disappointing? Well, if I conclude without your head, it's the guy who played Eddie Munster. That was very bad. But Raven's a really bad interview. On the podcast, his in-person one was pretty fun. Raven, I think I was really looking forward to that, and it is not good. Raven and Barry Darsow. Am I the longest surviving in your head original? This is Jobs. I've been around since getting the ring. I think you and Golgo. I think Golgo's around the same time. I'm trying to think if anybody else was around from that era. Definitely you two. So I think, yeah. In the flea. But yeah, yep, I would say so, Jobs. I think we'll have to we need a new wing of the Headyverse for you and Gogo. I think Gogo was around since day one. Ooh, can you do an interview with Tony Schiavone under Mike Tenay? Mike Tenay possible. Tony's possible. I talked to the guy who did the butts and seats a little while ago about coming on with Tony, and they were going to set that up. But like many things, I'm bad at following through. Would you marry a person with the same last name as your first? So, well, yeah, because if they have the same last name as my first name, but I'm the man, traditionally they would change their last name, so it wouldn't make a difference. What you should have asked is if I would marry someone with the same first name as my last, because then they would be Jones. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, they would. So, like, if I married someone named Mary Neal, they would become Mary Jones. So it doesn't, really wouldn't make any difference. Though. Where are the in your head keychains? I don't know. So I'll make some. Anybody want in your head keychains? Would the host of Without Your Head trade hosting duties with In Your Head host for once a month? Yeah. Actually, Trista did guest host an In Your Head with me. She's a wrestling fan. We might, she'd be into doing those some more, but it's a little harder now since she's back at work in LA as an actress. So things are busier than they were during the pandemic. But yeah, she'd do that. Troy's a wrestling fan. He's really big on New Japan and AEW, so that would work out. And I've been trying to get Intro to do Without Your Head, and it's not that he's against it, but he works on that night. But he would do that. So yeah, I don't think we could do it a monthly thing, but I think all of us would do that. Should Jason Mitten's poop dance be a TikTok video? Do it up. Lexar, if you and Incher were chosen to do an interview about your podcast on a daytime TV talk show, would you do it? Yeah, of course. I talk to those bullshit people. Then in 10 years, Gogo will send me the archive of it, and I'll be like, what was this? I don't remember this. I met Neil Jones face to face. That's right, I met Goosey. Goosey's a good man. Geraldine says, I'm here. She is. She's a good lady. I like that, Geraldine. Golgo 13, Trent Acid and Barry Darsow were terrible. I don't think we ever had Trent Acid on. Barry Darsow, though, was bad. Goosey, I'm still around. I left for a while, but I'm back. Goosey! Mighty Lexar, would you see In Your Head? Would you see an In Your Head? The fuck is this fly flying? Would you see an In Your Head documentary? Yeah, definitely. People want to fund that. Golgo's been here since day one. Josh, behind the scenes with Rock Riddle. Rock Riddle, very fun guy. I didn't know anything of. He's like a. Now, Ox Baker, you can look up. It's hard to find stuff about Rock Riddle. So he's a guy I really knew nothing about, and I think ends up being a really fun interview. I don't really have any behind the scenes stories. Well, he did put me in the Cobra Clutch once, but I'm a big fan of Rock Riddle. I know I asked this question years ago, but why did In Your Head not get a deal with AfterBuzz TV? I remember Jack was on AfterBuzz TV wrestling show with some of the divas and Maria Menounos. So AfterBuzz TV, in the early days, the guy who ran that, he's Maria Menounos' husband, used to work for MTV. So he used to call me a lot. And he was really big on me. He always told me, he's like, you got to look yourself as a brand, Jackie Jones. Then he was the guy who really told me to keep pushing the Jackie Jones thing. Internet icon, Jackie Jones, Jackie Jones, Jackie Jones. Said you can look yourself as a brand. So I actually took that advice and do it today. That Nasty Neil for Without Your Head. And it did work for other things. He so a couple things. He wanted me to this was before Maria Menounos, I think before she had a show. Before she was on WWE and before she did some other things. So he wanted me to meet her in Cambridge. This was, I don't know, 2008 or 2009, something like that. He wanted me to meet her in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Basically a test to see what kind of chemistry we had to host a show together. For some reason that never came. So a lot of things just never happened. So he was calling me a lot. Like I said, Jackie Jones, push Jackie Jones, Jackie Jones. And he had set up for me to be on AfterBuzz TV with the TLC. It was Tori Wilson, Lillian Garcia, and Candice Michelle. And so we interviewed them. Oh no, I was on their show first. So I went on there. It was fine. They called me the internet icon. It was kind of a fun little thing. And then I recorded the interview with them. And they told me beforehand, like, you had to watch your language and avoid certain, like, no sexual stuff with them, other whatever. I don't know to this day what it was, but I said something during that interview that, and I don't know which one. I have my guess. It's the L in TLC. Because we've had Tori on, and I don't think she'd be somebody who'd be offended. Same thing with Candice. I don't think anyway. Something anyway that was said on the show offended one of them. I don't know who. I don't know what. I might guess of who. I still don't have any idea of what. And that was the end of me on AfterBuzz. And then also the meeting with Maria Menounos never came about. But the plan, he wanted me to meet with her, do like a test to see like what kind of chemistry we had for like a video show. And we were going to host a show on AfterBuzz. I don't know what or what kind of deal it would have been or anything. But, there's a few things that I probably messed up. I don't really know how I messed that one up, but I did follow up on all that. It just ended. Some things I'm just bad at following up on, I'll be honest. But that one I tried to. I thought he made up his whole career. Who was he talking about? I'm not sure. Oh, Rock Riddle. I know that's what Clinton always thinks too. That like I don't know. Maybe he did. If he did, good on him, I think, honestly. Jack would probably be on G4. I'm not sure what that is. That was the start of Jack being canceled. Oh no, it's been canceled long before that. Probably TNA was the start of me being canceled. I'll be on in my younger days, as you're younger and stuff, but it would probably burn some bridges I probably shouldn't have. But yeah, with I mean, not just me. It was the guy, Ross Foreman was really hard to deal with. And he had this weird vendetta against me. I'm not even, this isn't me thinking I'm bigger because I don't think it's a big deal, but he would have AOL Instant Messenger conversations with other people about me. It was very weird. And I remember, getting screenshots of this stuff and the other person would be like, what's this weird vendetta you have against this guy? Because he would just so I would be doing interviews for other events. Okay, I'd be doing interviews for FanFest with people from TNA because they were at FanFest because they were friends with Greg Price at the time. And then Ross Foreman would then get on AOL Messenger and be like, I don't want these guys on me. And he would always say by my whole name, Neil Jones Show. And it was just very strange. and they'd be like, well, it was already like, set up and announced, and Ross would be like, well, he sets up like illegal interviews. And it's just really weird. And I just remember Greg would be like, why do you have this weird vendetta against this guy? It was all very strange. But yeah, I guess I could have just been like an ass kisser and probably but that didn't go well. The stuff with the midgets didn't go well. Actually, Ring of Honor, because the Ring of Honor got mad because I mentioned on the show, I think was it Roderick Strong? I think it was Roderick Strong. I could be wrong, but I think it was Roderick Strong was on the midget wrestling show. And he was Ring of Honor champ, and he was playing a frat boy who wasn't a wrestler. And I brought it up on the show how bad I thought that made the Ring of Honor look. And then they were mad that I brought it up because they're like, you shouldn't bring up that the champ was. They were very strange. Ring of Honor. I think this was when Cornette was there, and they would be like real kayfabe, and all the emails they would refer to the champ as the champ. All the emails would be back and forth like this was all real, like I was really going to be interviewing the champ, and it was just really like hokey stuff. But there's been a lot of promotions that it's probably not smart of me, but whatever. I'm not good with if I think I'm in the right, I'm not good with backing down. Where am I? Where the hell am I? Do you think the Headyverse needs more women? I think I don't care if men or women, whoever. I just think I'm happy to have the Headyverse. The Headyverse are good people. Tell your stories from trips to the Fan Fest. Josh, do you ever think Barbie returned for one show? Like I said, I haven't talked to him in in over a decade, I think. I don't know. I'm not seeking that out. Nothing against him, but he just stopped calling into the show and never told us why. So it's not like I'm gonna ask him to come back on. If he asked me to come back on, I'm not against that. I don't hold grudges, but it's not anything I'm looking for. Chel's stories from we had a good time at the Fan Fest. I remember the very first Fan Fest we were going to go to. That was in Rockland, Maryland, and that would be the first time I met Incher in person. And Incher's dad was worried that like the whole show was just like a big scheme to get for me to get Incher in a hotel room and fuck him. And I was like, come on, dude. Like we were doing the show like at 4 years, I think, at this point. Like this I'm playing the long con game where I just I'd be setting Incher up just so I could get a piece of that sweet, sweet ass. Now, I don't know if he thought I was gonna, rape him, or if he just thought me and Incher were, just gonna get it on to, I don't know, but anyway, it was very fun. We got together. I remember one of the first people we met was Paul Bearer, and I remember Paul Bearer was always hitting on the women at the shows. I guess I shouldn't say that, but he's a very nice man. Ox Baker, really nice guy. I did realize more so when I started doing horror conventions that a lot of the wrestlers, they still hold that, especially the old school guys, where like they treat you. They'll treat, even if you're friends on the show like this, when they're around other wrestlers, it's different. They don't want to say they're friends with marks, which is kind of weird. But just the positive sides, a lot of good memories. I remember Tully Blanchard was a really fun guy. Man, I know these aren't great stories here. I'd have to think about like some stories. Remind me next week when Incher's back, and it would be fun to tell them together as far as Fan Fest stories. But yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun times. It was fun meeting Incher I used to look forward to that every year. It's kind of like our get together, and more in your head people would come out. It's too bad, things went the way they did. I always thought it'd be nice if we could find another convention that could be like our annual fan fest trip, but a lot of them are one day, and I don't think really everyone traveling together just to be around one day is that great. I'm just reading here. Alexar's trying to get Geraldine to clone herself so you can, do the naughty with the Geraldine clone. Nikhil Callahan. It was Eddie Kingston's birthday. Favorite memories of him in AEW. His first appearance I thought was great, and it really is cool that he debuted, and then he didn't have a contract at the time, and debuts and then gets a contract based off his appearance. A great promo. And another guy, I'm afraid that they're really good. They're missing out on the momentum. His stuff with Punk was making, and then he did that interview. He had all this buzz behind him. The crowd was so into him, and not really done anything since. I love AEW, but that's something they really got to work on. When you got to strike when the fire's hot. When you get a guy the crowd really reacts to, go with it, keep pushing it. Not just he's like not really doing anything. It was the Butcher's birthday. Favorite memories of him in AEW. I actually really like that team, Butcher and Blade, and it's too bad he gets hurt a lot because they never really get a chance to do much. They're always getting stuck in groups that don't fit him. It's too bad. Butcher and Blade. They should be maybe with Malachi Black or something they would fit in, but either that or just keep him as a team. The Matt Hardy stuff's death. That's not good. It was Shotty Lee's birthday. Favorite memories of, I don't know. He's whatever. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's somebody that to me doesn't really mean anything. The McMahon Helmsley era was born on this day. Any memories of watching his moments on Armageddon 1999? Dude, that's 23 years ago. I don't remember what happened on Armageddon 99. Tony Khan teased us in an interview. Tony Khan was hinting at doing a St. Patrick's Day Slam Dynamite show in a place like Club La Villa in Panama City Beach, Florida. Is this something you'd like to see? Yes, I'd like to see any show. I like AEW. That would give me Nitro vibes. That's fun. I'm a big fan of Nitro. So, yeah, that'd be fun. Thoughts on CM Punk and Adam Cole saying they both see 5 years worth of matchups for them in AEW. Well, CM Punk, yeah, that's probably right. Adam Cole, I think, is a guy you could really build the whole company around for the future. 5 years out of Punk, that makes sense. Adam Cole, I would say, 10 years or more. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. I don't agree with the idea of never doing rematches because I would have loved to see the Punk and the Punk feud go on along with Eddie Kingston. I would have liked to, Adam Cole and like a feud with a guy. To get really big feuds, you need more than one match. I did like what CM Punk said recently. He did an interview and he said that what thing he likes in AEW is they like to make the fans happy and not miserable, like make people miserable for some reason, which is totally true. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I stopped watching WWE. It's like they hate their own fans and don't want people to be happy. It's very odd. CM Punk said this. Oh, that's what I just was saying. Interesting. Winter's coming lineup. Matches are AEW World Title Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson. I'm really looking forward to that. It's I'm surprised it's happening so quick. Hangman hasn't really done too much as champ. It was a great moment when he won and a great promo after he won, but since then, not really done anything. But I don't think you can take the belt off him right now. And I think they're building to Punk getting the title from him eventually. Dynamite dozen final. MJF versus Dante Martin. I think MJF has to keep the ring, but that'll be good. Serena Deeb versus Shida. That'll be good. I'd like to see Serena win. Wardlow versus Matt Sydal. What? That's all? I thought there's another big match in that. I mean, Wardlow is just going to kill Matt Sydal, I assume. Any memories of Jimmy Rave? I don't really, but it's awful that he died so young, and he's a guy from that era of Ring of Honor. A lot of guys went on to real big. It's too bad that he never really shined anywhere off his initial Ring of Honor run. Thoughts on the Hook debut? Wow, this was great. I think some people are actually going a little overboard. They're saying it's like the greatest. Honestly, people are saying it's the best premiere debut ever, and he's future world champ. I don't know about that, but it was excellent. I think they do have a star in the making here. The presentation was great, and he was really good in the ring, especially for his first match. When is Veer coming to Raw? They love doing this. They love to hint at a guy coming up, and then they just never appear. Go, you're right, Jack. It was not Trent Acid. It was Johnny Webb. Yeah, that's a terrible interview. White trash Johnny Webb. And I like XPW. Who made that Andre the Giant song? They used to play in the show. It still actually does play on the end of the shows now on the Spotify version. So if you watch, you can watch a video or listen to the audio podcast on Spotify, and it opens with our original theme by Duckman, and then it closes with the Andre the Giant song by Ron Hex, my friend Ron Hex. So when we were looking for originally a theme for the song, my suggestion was Mr. Ass by Billy Gunn, Ass Man by Billy Gunn, or this Andre the Giant song by my friend Ron Hex. Did you ever want to be a wrestler manager growing up? Oh yeah, definitely. I used to do backyard wrestling. Not like what people think of today, like hitting each other with light tubes and stuff, but just for fun. And yeah, I always wanted to be a wrestler. And I'm very small, short. If I was growing up today, it would probably be different. Maybe I would have pursued it. I don't know. But manager, definitely. I think would have been a good manager. If so, what was your gimmick? Actually, I used to do one of the things when we did back at Vice Grip, because I did it sounds lame, a headlock, but we like the Vice Grip. But we used to play this great WWF role-playing game, and we made all kinds of characters. Any plans for another in your head all-nighter? I would definitely be down. Not tonight, because I got up early last few days and I'm getting sleepy right now. But yeah, I would like to do one at some point. Gogo 13, writer formerly known as Katie Lee, better come tomorrow on Dynamite. Whoa! Winter, I'm sorry. Joseph, if AEW didn't come around, would you have stopped watching altogether? Yeah, probably. Because I was really not watching much, and I haven't watched WWE TV in 2 years now. It was 2 years. I quit watching before 2 WrestleManias ago. I just don't like it, and it really reinvigorated my love of wrestling. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would be. I hate to say I wouldn't be doing the show, but I would. I always thought about, like, this is weird to do this show without me watching wrestling. Like, people, I don't know. We'd had to think of what to do, because I don't know about coming on here. And yeah, I mean, you could talk about old wrestling all you want, but I don't know if that's enough to sustain a weekly show. But I'm glad AEW is around. Jonathan Jackson, how big is cock? Well, whoa, I don't want to get kicked off here. Tyler Stevens, do you believe in ghosts or angels? Nope. K. Abraham Lincoln, do ghosts and angels believe in you? They can't, because they don't exist. All right. All righty. Well, I think that might be it. Anybody else here? If you guys want to zoom on in, if not, I'm going to be wrapping up the show here at In Your Head. In Your Head, number one show in the net. In Your Head, like Goldberg next. In Your Head. But anyway, anyone's got some questions for the show? If not, we're going to wrap this sucker up. All right. Thanks for the great memories. You are very welcome, GR. You're a good man. Lexar went to bed early, said he loved the History of In Your Head show. Thank you. I had fun doing this. It's crazy. It's been around so long. It's been around so long, I've actually forgotten things that's happened. It's really weird. It is weird. I remember quite a bit of the first show. I remember stuff we talked about, but a lot of the stuff in between then, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember at all that one wrestling clip that Gogo. By the way, for people who stayed this whole time, that was me doing the Shooter Austin. I hate to break kayfabe, but that was me doing the Shooter Austin voice. I kind of impressed myself. I don't think I could do that voice anymore. It does sound very, very childlike. And the idea was that we were going to do a whole fake show and see if we could get guests on it. To really think, I think about now, we were going to guest on to troll them because we were going to act like idiots. I was going to act like that kid and put them on the hot seat and try to make them ask questions. But the idea of doing multiple shows, one of them being a fake show, seemed insane. It would have been fun, but it's also a lot of work involved. I don't know. Would have been fun to do maybe, but can't do it today. We couldn't do it today with the video. I'd have to get disguises. Thanks. Hey, by the way, guys, do me a favor. Talk about memories. Send in your favorite memory to iywrestling@gmail.com, and we'll talk about them next week here on the show. That'll be fun. Rhett Titus is going to be coming to the show soon. He just won the Ring of Honor TV championship. He's going to come on. Going to talk about that experience. He'll talk about Final Battle. He's going to talk about his experience being part of Ring of Honor over these years. It's going to be very cool. Looking forward to that. And getting guests is a little different now, like I'd mentioned. We'll see. Maybe we'll get some favorites over the years back on. Possibly some legends on once in a while. I don't know. It's a different experience, but I do like just coming on and talking to everybody too. I like doing the interviews, but I'm not a big fan of getting after people to come on. I mean, back in the day I would, but it's just like I said, it's a different experience. I don't want to reformat the show and put it behind a paywall. Honestly, I like doing the show and having just it out there so people can watch it. The idea of doing it and then worrying about people buying it, I don't know. I think it takes away the fun of it. But anyway, if you want to zoom in quick, here it is. If Sheamus offered to come on the show, would you embrace him with open arms or tell him the no? I don't know if you know this, Josh, but Sheamus back in the day asked to come on the show before he was in WWE, and yeah, we would have him on. Sheamus O'Shaughnessy at the time, and I remember his on his website he had a great. Well, he had the mohawks again, but he had the big mohawk then, and he had a big battle axe, and he had this crazy song that played every time you went to. Back in the day, do you remember websites would have songs that would just play all the time? It's pretty sweet. Mike Lopez says, "Awesome, thank you." Gogo 13, you and your memories. I was browsing the In Your Head audio archives and I have no memories of some of these guests. For example, I forgot that Hannibal was on your head. Yeah. He it was a very emotional interview, I have to say, with Hannibal. Josh says no guest shows are better. Well, I appreciate that. the guest shows do bring in new listeners. So I like doing interviews, but I also like interviewing particular guests. I am more of an old school guest guy. So if we get, it would be people. I was just gonna say people like Harley Race, but Harley Race passed away. So, but we've had a lot of people on in the past. So you can go and check those out. Ivan Koloff and Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA, and some good stuff. But if something like that would come along, though, somebody from that era, that would be fun. All righty. All right, I think we're good. All right, guys. Next week, back to the regular In Your Head intro will be back. I think that'll be our last show before Christmas. So send in your favorite memories. I had an idea, but it's too late to do it this year. Let me know what you guys think about this maybe for next year. Secret Santa Claus. That's right. Secret Santa Claus with an X. Secret, Xeret, Santa Claus. That's right. So In Your Head, Secret Santa Claus. You guys send in wrestling gifts. I'll randomly package them up, send them back out to everybody. It'll be a Secret Santa Claus gift exchange, all done through the Headyverse. What do you guys think of this idea? I think this will be very fun. Anthony Oberstar says we need the Raw report. Well, I believe Steven went to bed, but here's the Raw report. It fucking sucked. Boom. Raw report. Boom. All right. I'm going to go to sleep because I'm tired myself. Check out Without Your Head. Next week, we will have Fred the Hammer Williamson on the show. That is going to be very cool. This Thursday, we will have Frank Farrell of the cult classic Spookies and Street Trash. That's going to be a very fun show. That's live Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I'm going to make them live right after this show. New Neil and Annabelle's Dinner and a Movie episodes. We just reviewed Wolf and Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. You can see Annabelle and I review those fine films. You can also get new Dinner and a Movie and Without Your Head merchandise at the Without Your Head Etsy page. So you go to etsy.com/people/Without Your Head. You can also check out Without Your Head on Amazon. I need to get some new In Your Head merchandise up. If you have some ideas for merchandise, let me know, and I will get those up. Or if you're a designer out there and would like to design something for In Your Head, email IYHWrestling@gmail.com. All right. Best Raw report ever. Well, thank you. Until next time when Incher is back, I'm going to get Incher. I don't know if I can do the voice. I'm going to get Incher in the hot seat, and I'm going to make him answer all the hard questions. None of these softball questions that you see on these other shows. He's going to have to answer them because he's going to be in the hot seat in the Ring of Fire, and we're going to get the dirt because you got to do it. It's not like these softball questions on the other shows. We're going to ask the hardball questions and even some curveball questions because we are. I forget the catchphrase I kept using. The evolution of the revolution. That's here. That's Smash Mouth Wrestling Radio, bitches.